Heyo, it's Cruising Kyle, and today we're going to talk about the rules of the mountain. Welcome to Snowboarding 101. If it's your first time here, I'm Cruising Kyle, and I use this channel to teach people the ins and outs of snowboarding. Let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about the rules of the mountain, and they actually go by a specific name called the Responsibility Code. So the Responsibility Code is 7 parts or 7 rules long. The first one is stay in control. You must stay in control at all times, making sure that you're not running into people or other objects. This is really for your own safety. Just so you don't bang yourself up that much. But staying in control is definitely one of the most important rules on the mountain. You don't want to fly down willy-nilly and just crash into people left and right and think, oh, it's no big deal. Really, just stay in control. Rule number 2, people downhill of you have the right-of-way. That means if you are skiing or snowboarding and you're going downhill and there's somebody in front of you and they kind of cut across your path, technically they have the right of way. So make sure you're keeping an eye on all the people in front of you and keeping your distance from them as much as possible, just so you avoid any unnecessary actions and so you stay in control. Rule number 3, please stop to the side of the hill. Preferably somewhere where you are visible. You don't want to, stop where there's a bunch of shade or stop underneath a high rise where somebody coming over the edge won't see you until after they've already come over the edge. You really want to make sure that you're visible from all directions where you stop and that you're not in anybody's way. This is way more for your safety than anyone else's. Trust me, it sucks to stop in the wrong place and get run into by somebody who isn't staying in control or doesn't see you until the last second. Now, rule number 4, people who are moving have the right of way. So let's say you've stopped, you've taken your break, you're off to the side, you're super visible, it's all good. And now you're ready to get up and go again. I want you to look uphill to make sure that nobody's going to be coming down right as soon as you stand up and go. Because if you stand up and start going and somebody hits you immediately, that's usually on you, not on them, because you didn't check to see if there was oncoming traffic. It's kind of like a roadway. When you merge into traffic, you've got to look both ways, but really you're looking for the direction traffic is coming from. And it's the same thing on the mountain, when you're just getting up from a break or if you're merging into a different trail or whatever it is, you want to look and make sure the oncoming traffic is clear so that way, you've got plenty of space to do your thing. Now, rule number 5, don't let your equipment run away. Snowboards have a fancy thing called a leash, and that just attaches your board to your leg, and it's not part of your bindings. It's there just in case. In case you unstrap both your feet and you forget to grab your board's not going to slide away from you. Some skis have it. I know telemark skis don't have brakes like normal skis, so they require you to have one leash for each foot and that kind of stuff. But really the simplest fix is if you're not going to be using your board, if you're not going to be strapped in, make sure you set it so that the bindings are face down in the snow and the base of the board, the flat part, is face up. That way your board can't go anywhere. Now, rule number 6, you want to observe all posted signs and markings. If there is tape or rope or a fence marking off the side of a trail or something, don't hop over that fence, don't duck that rope, don't go into that area. The reason it's been marked off is because that area is not safe for you to use. Now, I do understand that sometimes mountains will mark off places that are still perfectly safe, but it's because they don't have control over that area. They don't have it's not easy for them to get to that area if you get hurt. So you want to observe all those ropes and stuff and stay where you're supposed to stay on the runs. Now, there will be places where there are signs that say, go this way, don't go this way. Oh, you're entering a park, here are the rules. You want to make sure you stop and actually read all those signs, because those rules are important and they can change from location to location. So just, be very aware of all the different signs and postings and follow them as much as possible, and, really just have a good time with it. And rule number 7, last but not least, you must know how to load, ride, and unload a lift before you use it. Don't just step up first day, go with the flow of the group and get on a lift, because if you don't know what you're doing, not only can you hurt yourself, but you can hurt other people. You can even damage property. Lifts are relatively simple and easy, but it's not always common sense. You still need to at least get a little bit of information. Stop, watch a couple people get on and off. Ask somebody, hey, what's the best way to get on this lift? What's the best way to stand or sit? What should I do to get off the lift? Typically, if it's your first time, I'd hope you'd go take a lesson or at least have watched some YouTube videos. But they teach you those things in your lesson. So, it's something to look forward to. There are a lot of different kinds of lifts, so it can be a little tricky knowing how to do each different kind. But typically, mountains will stick with 1 or 2 different kinds of lifts, and that's it. So make sure you're aware of the lift procedures before you get on those lifts. So that is all 7 rules that you have for the responsibility code. Most mountains will have the responsibility code posted by their lifts, or at least in their lodge somewhere. Usually you can ask the instructors and they'll know the responsibility code if you want more information or whatever. But really what it's there for is to keep you safe, to help prevent accidents. Accidents can be kind of horrific sometimes. Normally they're not. Normally accidents are just small little bumps, some small scrapes, maybe you fall and hit yourself. Usually the accident is you falling on your own. But if you do end up bumping into people or that kind of stuff, it can start to get a little more hazardous. Again, it's a lot like a roadway. Imagine you've got one car going 15 miles an hour and another car going 50 miles an hour, and they crash. Same thing on the mountain. You got one skier going 15 miles an hour and one snowboarder going 50, and they hit each other. That's going to cause some serious damage. So you want to follow these rules as much as possible to avoid that. Now, if you do get into that situation, that's totally okay. There's an organization called Ski Patrol, and every mountain has a ski patrol, and they are kind of like the medics of the mountain. They're really good skiers and snowboarders, and they have good medical training. They might not be doctors or anything, but they at least know how to do first responder situations and above and beyond. They have to prepare for so many different kinds of situations for the ski mountain. So if you do get in an accident, I would strongly recommend calling Ski Patrol. In fact, that's one of the things you should do to prepare is when you buy your lift tickets, be like, hey, what is the number for Ski Patrol? And put that in your phone so that way you know who to call if you see an accident or if you get in an accident yourself. Really, the rules are here to remind you to use common sense. You want to keep your head on your shoulders. You want to think. You want to look before you leap. Just really make sure that you know what you're doing and you are staying in control. And that's going to help you have a successful, happy, fun day. If you don't follow these rules or you get tangled up with other people who aren't following these rules, then, you might not be as happy. And, that happens sometimes, but you just want to make sure that you are following the responsibility code to the best of your ability to keep you out of trouble. That's really all I have for you on the rules of the mountain. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're looking for more videos like this, at the end of this video, there will be a link to my playlist before you head up to the mountain. And hopefully, I'll see you on the mountain.